Well, you can do all those things and so much more. Just grab a seat in the chair or the floor. Sit back, relax, recline. Well, she drops another casual line. You're tuned into Casually Molly with Molly and Bergie.
Changing the wall. Have you ever wanted to get your shit together?
Welcome back to the Casually Molly podcast. I'm your host, Molly Ambergy. We were just laughing because we were watching the intro video. So it's so fun to have John Maddie, St. Louis-based comedian in studio. Give it up for John. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Well, cheers. Should we do a cheers?
Yeah.
Yes.
What
John
you got in
Maddie
your
on the
cup?
podcast. So I've got some Jack Daniels. What do you have?
This is regular Crown Royal and Aldi Sprite.
Ooh, that sounds actually kind of great. I love Aldi, so.
You know, I brought an extra, I brought a drink that I would like to say I created, but I didn't. I brought some Crown Apple, and you can mix it with Dr. Pepper if you're bougie, but I prefer
Okay.
Aldi's Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
Dr. Dazzle. Yes. 50-50 mix.
But, you know, speaking of things you do know how to do, though, you do know how to do comedy, which is why we're having you on the show. So,
Thank you for having me.
oh, of course. John, I was actually like, I mean, obviously I told you this before. I said it, I told you I talk in hypotheticals. Like, I think I may have said this, but I know I said this. It's just like me being polite. But I was so happy that you agreed to be on my show. And you're actually the first St. Louis comedian to kick off the year, because we had a musician, we've got Joe Bates that was on beforehand, but you are based here in St. Louis, so you're kicking off the St. Louis independent comedy train here.
All right.
So there
happy,
we go.
happy to be here. Let's
yeah.
cheers to that.
There
Yeah.
you go. Salute day.
Fuck 2020.
Fuck 2020. I love it. But how's your 2021 been going?
I can't complain. I mean, it's more so no news is good news. I mean, COVID kind of really sucks with comedy. I mean,
Yeah.
you know just as well as I do.
Yes.
But life's going pretty good. I'm
Cool.
just trying to stay ahead on money and live the day life.
Yeah.
Do the day job.
Yeah. What's your day job?
I work on cars now, and like in 2018, I just put myself through college. I just graduated May of 2020,
Okay.
and
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. And I don't have any
Yay.
student loan debt. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I was-
Okay. Very cool. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. And it was for automotive technology. I went to a community college and didn't have to pay a lot of money and still had great instructors. So
Nice.
I work in the field, and I make good money, and I have great benefits, and doing the adult stuff that nobody wants to hear on a podcast. Am I right?
Well, you know why I ask is because, you know, my boyfriend Jimmy, he actually works on cars. He does a lot of old muscle cars. So he has a Cobra that he worked on, I
Are
believe.
you serious?
Yeah, I'm not joking at all. I'll have
Wow.
to, after the show, I'll pull up pictures. But yeah, I've gone to some car shows with him. He's shown it off.
What does he
and-
do?
So, well, he doesn't do mechanics by day, but he used to for the longest time. Like, he worked for Firestone and all of that and whatnot. So he did that one. He did the Cobra, and now he's working on the Bronco. So that's why I was interested, because I don't know too much
Wow.
about the new cars, but I have started to learn, other than obviously like driving cars, but I've started to learn about old muscle cars and whatnot through him.
Yeah.
And seeing how big of actually an attraction it is. Like, there's so many shows, and it just, I mean, obviously pre-COVID, there was like a ton of people you would see. I've been to a few car shows with him where there hasn't been a ton of people right now at all, but everybody's in a mask. But beforehand, oh my God, there was like, and there's awards given out and everything.
Oh
so,
yeah, those car shows, they don't play around. I would not have pegged Jimmy Day for a gearhead. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I've got a conversation to have with him next time. I'm gonna ask him all about those cars.
Oh, he will. John, I'm not even saying this, and this is probably, he would definitely be happy to show you. He'd be
All
like,
right.
he'd be like, okay, yeah, absolutely. He'd be like, this one took me 8 years. This one I found.
Jesus. I'm just gonna get depressed talking to him then. This took me forever.
Yeah.
And this one took me even longer.
He found this Bronco that was actually in a tree, like that. He found it was like a tree that went through it, but now he's actually kind of, I think I'm using probably the wrong word. You're a mechanics, you would know, but he like rescued it, and now he's putting like seats in it and stuff. But it is pretty cool. So,
That's sweet.
but yeah,
Wow, and I saw that you drive a Toyota 4Runner. I
I
started
do.
salivating over that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a 99, so that makes me feel really good.
Those things are sweet.
See, I love it. A lot of
You can
people,
sell to
John.
me when you're done.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like people make fun of me because they're like a 99. That's so old or whatever. But I love it. Like
Do you get random people that go up, oh, I love that thing?
yes,
Yeah.
I do. I do. There's some people that make fun of me, but the majority are always like, sweet ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what them Toyotas can do.
I still have a cassette player. I still, yeah.
99.
Yes. Because you still had, it was when CDs were still starting, or no, still starting, were just starting to be like popular, but you still had cassettes. So there's both. And so I still have like the knobs and everything. So it doesn't read the song. I have a very old school sound system.
Does it have a
so-
CD player too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
That was a sweet time because there's an '04 Acura TL sitting in my driveway that's got CD player, radio, and a tape player. And I was like, 2004? Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
They're very cool. Well, I love that we'll have to talk more about cars after this. But
Yeah.
you're like, okay. But the thing is, that is really cool that you've got these interests. But I was, like I said, I was so excited to have you on. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. So, old school, casually Molly, I would invite St. Louis comedians on, and I would always start out with how we met. And I don't know if you remember this because it probably it was kind of in passing, but I went to a show, the very first show that was at Apotheosis Comic Book Store ever.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that place.
So it's
Go
only up
on.
the street from here.
Yes.
And I went, and you were on the show.
So wait. Where were you there? Were you there to see somebody in particular?
No, honestly, I was just starting to do comedy in St. Louis, and I had met
scouting.
Tom Brown, and Tom Brown was like, hey, I'm producing a new showcase. And I was like, cool, I want to come and see it. And I knew Sarah Pearl that was on the show.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I know what show you're talking about.
Yes, and that was before they had Apotheosis. For those of you who are tuning in either from another city or who are maybe unaware, is a really cute comic book store. It's located on South Grand. It's one of my favorite places, and it's got a bar in it too.
It is really cool. Martin, the guy that owns the place,
Yep.
runs comedy shows. Well, not right now
Right.
with COVID, but that
But,
is one of my
yeah.
favorite places to do comedy.
See, and that's how I feel too. So shout out to Tom Brown for putting that together as
Yeah.
well. But it was cool because now they have a stage and lights and things. But
Yeah.
beforehand, it was such a new concept. So you used to perform on
In
the
the
windowsill.
the display case,
Yeah.
which was also awesome.
Yes.
Just turn around and see people walking down the street, and you're just sitting there talking about your penis or
Yeah.
whatever you're doing.
You're right. It's like, or people would wave during your set.
Yeah.
They'd be like, they'd try to wave at you while you were that happened to me a couple times when I was performing there. People would be like, hi, and I'm like in the middle of a bit, but
Yeah.
hello, like nice to see you.
I'm rolling right now.
I was like,
mean,
rolling now, but you can pay $5 to see the show. Like,
Are you enjoying the visuals? Because you could hear this and maybe laugh, you know?
right. Subscribe to Casually Molly. Thank you. But yeah, you went on, I think you were the last one. And I remember I was like, who is this guy? He is so funny. I remember it's true. I told Sarah, I was like, he is so charismatic on stage. And she's like, oh, John Maddie, he's great. Like, we always want him to perform more,
Yeah, to perform more, to get out more. Yeah, I understand.
Well, then there was somebody that was there, and this is not a reflection of people that attend comedy shows, but there was somebody that was there, and I couldn't find the bathroom because it was after the show. And I walked up to him, and I was like, hey, because I didn't know anybody, obviously. And I was like, does anybody know where the bathroom is? And he was like, we don't work here, so why would we know? And you popped in like I didn't even, it was like John worked like clockwork. Like he shows and he goes, I'm sorry, what did you need? I'll answer your question. And this guy was
That
like,
sounds about right. I probably would be a dick.
And I just remember turning around, I was like, you know when you just have so many thoughts at once and you're like, there's the guy from the show. He was really great. And I just remember I was like, good job. I just need to know where the bathroom is, like literally. And you were like, oh, okay. Well, I actually know where it is, and it is right back there. In fact, you know what? Let me walk you back there to the bathroom. And you like walked me back, and it like, no, this is gonna make it sound really bad, but the bathroom's like behind this curtain, and you're like, behind the curtain? You can just walk on there, and there's the bathroom. What's your name, by the way? What is your name? I was like, oh, I'm Molly. I just started comedy. I just moved back. And you're like, I'm John, and it is very nice. You have a great night, Molly. Thank you. And then you left. And then I didn't see you for 3 months. Like, I literally was like, what just happened? So John Maddie, everybody,
I don't
saved
remember that
the
at all.
day. And this guy, it was great because like you didn't even yell at the guy. You just basically shamed him and was like, no,
Well,
I'm
that
going to
makes
show
me
her.
feel good.
So I was like, what a good person. Thank
you-
you so much for doing that.
Is that somebody that's in comedy? Do you recognize that
Oh
person
no,
ever
it
again?
was just
Okay.
yeah, it was just
Just
an
a
audience
jerk?
member, just a jerk. I haven't seen this person. I don't even remember what they looked like. I just only remember John Maddie coming in and being like, "What do you need? You need a I know where it is. I'll show you." I was like,
I probably
"Okay."
heard him being a jerk then.
Yeah,
'cause-
absolutely. Like, and you weren't nasty. You just were like, "No, we're not doing this." And this guy was so embarrassed that he
Good.
made an asshole of himself. And I think he told me when I left, he was like, "Have a good night" or something. And I went, "Oh, thank you."
Well, that's way better than I thought. Usually, when I met you, you were a jerk. Half my friend, like,
What?
Yeah, I just have that face, and sometimes I'm a very blunt guy. I don't sugarcoat stuff, and like even like some of my good friends, when I played basketball in high school, and one of my best buddies, Eddie, he always tells me how he thought I was the biggest dick in the world when I first met him. But we met on the basketball court,
Oh,
and you
okay.
have to have confidence on the basketball court, whether you're an asshole or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he met me. And I wouldn't say that I'm not a dick other times, but you definitely got to put your game face on when you're playing. And he's
Well,
like,
that
man,
makes
I
sense.
hated you for the first 6 months I knew you. And now we're best buddies.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, I feel like there's some people who I butted heads with in the beginning when I first met them, but now they're like my best friends in the world. Like,
It's
you're like,
usually
"Oh."
always in your own head.
Yeah.
I always think that. Think the worst. Overthink, and then you think that, well, what if I do this? Everybody's going to hate me. And then you're putting pressure on yourself.
Oh my God.
I still do that.
I see. That's so crazy that you say that because I feel like you are one of the most, and for those again who aren't from St. Louis, I am going to vouch for John and say that he's probably one of the nicest people in St. Louis comedy. It's true. But what the thing is about you though is like talking about game face. When you are on stage, you are very much in that moment. Like I feel like when you are on stage, people are excited to see you perform. Like that's why I'm saying you're very charismatic. People I feel like relate to you really well. And I just want to know, since I was like, this is kind of a different vibe that you were telling me about the basketball court. Do you kind of feel like you're well received on stage? Because I feel like I'm always excited to see John Maddie when you're on a show.
On stage, I am there having a great time. But I mean, when you're not I definitely acknowledge that I have, whenever my face is not animated, I look like a dick. I've got the
Okay.
resting dick face. That didn't sound right, but that's what
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Rewind. I've got a resting bitch face.
Yes.
The other one probably is more accurate. But you know what I mean. It's just
Yes.
when I'm on stage, it's one thing, but I'm not that person when I'm off stage, and it's not that I'm saying I'm a dick all the time, but I know that if I don't necessarily take time to say hi to everybody because I what are the words? I don't know. It's difficult to be up all the time. You know, you always have that energy, and you the same way that you're saying to me when you go up on stage, even before you say a word, you'll make people's faces glow because you just have that aura, and you're just excited to be there. You know what I'm saying? Every time, consistently. I'm Molly. I can't do your voice, but
It's okay.
you bring
It's all
that
right.
energy. So
Well, I
you can-
appreciate that.
But the difference between me and you is that's you all the time. Right now, even off the camera or whatnot, that's you. With me, if I'm at home, I'm a grumpy old man. I'm gonna go to bed and pet my dogs. I'm the guy that would be like, stay off my lawn.
I kind of like that though. I kind of love it. And like, I'm Italian, so I'm used to very blunt people, which I think is why I like being around you so much, is because I like your honesty, and I feel like that comes out in your comedy. And that's like, honestly, I feel like how you said you're having a good time. I feel like I can relax and watch you and laugh with you because I feel like you're having a good time, which is great.
And that's one thing we relate on because you're always having a good time up there as well.
Oh, well, look at us. We're having a great time. See, that's why we're on this podcast. Yay. So
Stay
we got
off
our
my
show.
lawn.
Stay off. But see, so I also have been told, so I work in customer service by day and I sell apartments to people. And that's what's
So
one
you don't work at a
thing.
hotel anymore
So, yeah, no, I don't. That shut down because of COVID.
because of COVID?
Yeah.
What
So
was it? A Best Western? Is that what you?
it was actually a boutique hotel. So it was called Hotel Ignacio. It's no longer there anymore. It's now student housing for SLU.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, we used to be, yes, I was. John, I really see, this
I
is why I
vetted
love
you.
John. What?
I vetted you.
Right. I was like, John knows my whole life. I love this. I was like, he protects me, gets me to the bathroom, knows where I've worked. I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
But
Some people might see that as creepy.
no, not at all. I mean, I do. The thing about podcasting is you do share a lot of your life. So there are people that will listen to a podcast episode and come up to me. Not that I'm like super famous or anything by any means, but they'll be like, "Oh, like how's the hotel?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I talked about this like on the last
Like in
episode."
2018.
Yeah. No. But yeah, no, I don't work there anymore, unfortunately. But I do put people in permanent housing now. And a lot of with customer service, though, is that you kind of have to say negative things, but with a smile on your face, if that makes sense. So people will be like, can we just strike a deal? Or they want you to like kind of just adjust it to what they want or something. It's mostly entitled people that do that. And I have to just be like, no, unfortunately, we can't. Like,
You'd be
it's fine.
surprised what you could say with a smile on your face.
Yeah. And like they can't get pissed because you weren't rude. You weren't like, you just go, no,
Let
oh,
me-
I'm so sorry.
Let me get to the answer immediately.
Right.
No.
But speaking of, now that we talked about our day jobs, everybody knows that. Comedy wise, I was about to say, do you have any plugs that you're doing? Any podcasts? Any
Oh,
shows
yeah.
coming up really quickly?
Well, I am a part of a. I'm not the
He's
proprietor.
got a notepad, people.
I do. Yeah, I've got two shows I want to shout out, and I also do a podcast with Brad Williford, Rob Wicked, and Antonio Metcalf. ATG, the lead singer of Discrepancies. He's the main guy of this podcast. ATG presents I Said What I Said with RJB. If you just look up ATG, you'll see his podcast somewhere where we interview local, mostly musicians.
Okay.
But we've got, I think, about 6 episodes out right now. It's still up and going. And with COVID, it's kind of hindered us. But
Right.
that, I'll always take an opportunity to shout that out. That I've always had a good time doing that. And then you'll be able to see a live stream of some local music through which will be yesterday when this airs. Live from the Rat Hole. You'll be able to find that on Dirt Lake Productions on Facebook. You can go to your phone and watch this live stream.
Nice.
I'm just hosting it, and then the rest is local musicians.
Very cool.
Sonic Candy, Egan's Rats, J Rebel, Brad Millibeat, Squires, Buzzkill. A few of those people I've known personally for a long time in my life. A lot of good people, a lot of good musicians, and then. The one comedy show I'd like to, and I'm sorry to take up so much time.
Oh, no, this is why I asked this.
Oh,
So, yeah.
promotion. Let me get in on this.
No, it's okay.
On Valentine's Day
Oh.
at the Ivory Orange,
Oh,
be
okay.
doing the Tainted Love comedy show with Jason Dormeyer and Nicole Gorey.
love them.
Kansas City comic Dorian DeBose, hosted by Cody Bayer.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited to do that. And then obviously you can always keep up on what shows I'd be doing on Facebook or Instagram, which I believe.
Yeah, we've got a handle for that too. So we'll be showing that off during the during the podcast here if you're watching on YouTube, and I will also reiterate it if you were on audio listening at Not John Maddie, and that is John without a J, guys, just so you know, or a J. I meant an H. I'm really sorry. I've had some
Oh, that is
whiskey, you
super
guys.
cool.
There we go. See, and this is why we have a tech team, guys,
Man.
because sometimes you're behind a microphone and you just string some words together and you don't know a J or an H. or
Sound
what's
drop
in
and applause
between.
break for the tech team.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
But yeah, like I said, I always think you're really funny. And I think that other people feel the same way I do because you have been a 3-time Funny Bone contest finalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that felt?
Well, I mean, it kind of sucks because I wanted to win one of those.
Yeah.
I got second place in one of them. And not to say that the winner didn't deserve it. I believe it was Duke Taylor that won that year. And
Oh,
we all
we
know
love
how
Duke.
funny that dude is.
Yeah.
But, to beat a 3-time finalist and not win it, I'm still, that is a great accomplishment to me. I love the Funny Bone. And, I mean, that's where my first set was. I think that's where you did your first set as well, from what I've heard.
Mine, oh, no. But
No?
that was actually, I didn't know about the Funny Bone until a year into doing comedy. And then I started going to the Funny Bone. I
Did you
only
start comedy in St. Louis or Cincinnati?
I started in Cincinnati and then I moved here and Helium had a sign up, so I started doing that. And somebody was like, "Hey, you should come out to the Funny Bone." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Were you like, what's the Funny Bone?
Well, because I live in the city, so I didn't even know Westport existed. It's because I'm not from here, you guys. Somebody's like, "Yeah, Westport Plaza," and I was like, "What?" And then I walked into the Funny Bone, and I was like, "Oh, I love this place." Like everybody's like, "Yeah, it's the like, oldest
as
club
soon as you
in St.
walk
Louis."
in, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Right. So now I like, but I'm honored to think that people thought I did my first set at the Funny Bone. Thank you.
So then where was the first place you did it at? Did you already say that?
So I actually, my first set was at a charity show, actually. So if you're thinking of like my very first set or like a set
Yeah, I
after
want to know
that.
your first time doing comedy.
My very first time?
Yeah, no, I don't want to know when your first gig was. I want to know.
The very.
Yeah.
So I used to run a theater company and I ran it for 5 years where I produced all my own plays and it was called Good People Theater Company. My slogan, it was
Cool.
so fucking cheesy. It was good theater, good people, good time or something. But like, it was like,
That's pretty good.
well, I was 23 and I did shows in different venues. Like my first show I ever produced was in the Moonrise Hotel in the Loop. So I basically had a fundraiser, rented out a suite, and then I had people come to the suite and watch the show in like real time. So you were just like watching people at a table and like, using a bedroom or using a bathroom or something. You know what I mean? Like you were watching people. It was like they lived in an apartment setting and you were in the apartment with them watching their life kind of unfold. And then I did another show in Shaw neighborhood at a cafe called Restituo, which sadly is not there anymore. But it was called Is This Really Happening Right Now? And it was like all these things, like all these vignettes of things where you're at the end of each one, it was like, is this really happening right now? So I needed to, after I did those in St. Louis, I was in Cincinnati for a while. And long story short, we were going to Chicago for a play and I needed to do a fundraiser. And I had been watching stand-up comedy as actually like a form of therapy. And I don't know, I just enjoyed watching it. Like I was watching like Nikki Glaser and Rachel Feinstein and Amy Schumer and Kathleen, all the greats, And I was like, well, this would be kind of cool if I did it like I had a bunch of comics and then we did tips and whoever got tipped the most won the contest. So I was like, and I didn't really think I was going to win. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not polished. I don't really have like any like
This
material.
is your first set?
Yeah. So I just like organized it.
Are you about to tell me you won it?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But
wow.
But I think it was more, I would like to preface this by saying that it wasn't my material by any means. Like I didn't have punchlines.
It's that glowing energy.
Everybody was like,
she
you're
walked
just
up
fun
there
to
and
be
they're like,
around.
I love this girl.
It's true. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like, so that was my story about doing comedy. But then I went to, my first set in St. Louis was actually at the Improv Shop. So.
Oh, that place is dope.
And
too.
Bobby J. Cox was like really encouraging and Rafe was very nice and stuff. So, but yeah, the Funny Bone's been great.
That all lines up.
But enough about me. I want to hear about John's first time doing comedy. So.
It was at the Funny Bone.
Mhm.
I mean, I did well my first time, but of course hey, give it up for your first timer. And I did a bunch of crappy jokes. And I mean, after that, I got the stomach bug. I had the addiction, and I definitely sucked after my first time. And I would go at that time, they actually had 2 Funny Bones. It was the one in Westport, of course, and then on Wednesday night, they would do an open mic at the Valley Park Funny Bone. And,
Okay, that's one I've heard about.
Yeah, that honestly, during my formative years of comedy when I was awful, that place really helped me grow because it's difficult to get on the list at the Westport Funny Bone because you got like 50 people signing up and, we're going to take 15 of them.
Mhm.
But you go to, and then nobody wanted to go to the Valley Park Funny Bone. It's like, okay, we got 18 people that signed up. We're just going to put you all up. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Stage time, and the first time I don't really, I don't really remember any of the jokes. They all sucked. I don't use any jokes from probably the first year I did comedy. But the biggest thing I remember was getting the bug. I probably only got 4 laughs and I thought I killed like anybody that did their first time.
When you first do it, yeah.
Yeah, but you get that bug and you're like, if one person would have laughed that night, I probably would still have gotten, it's the best legal drug in the world,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I
It's-
agree.
And so my first, I don't talk about this too much, but my first time was about 6 months after my dad died, actually. And I think the more that I have grown, the more that I realized that that was kind of a pushing point. Like if my dad was still around, I might not have ever tried comedy, or maybe I would have, and maybe I just think about what it'd be like if he was there to watch. But that's kind of what, because he was a big George Carlin fan, and he would recite, we would watch HBO specials, and he would tell, show me all Richard Pryor specials, and so I wouldn't say that I emulate my dad when I'm on stage, but I definitely, maybe that's why I have such a good time too, is because it's, I don't want to say nostalgic, but you know what I'm saying? It's got a little bit of
it's like a tribute almost.
Tribute's a good word too. It's hard to explain, but I feel like you understand what I'm saying. It's
I
just
do.
like, it's
I feel like I'm not
connection.
picking. Yes.
Like a connection.
Yes, John. I gotcha.
I don't really know what else to say about that. It's just, that's, I don't know, what motivate, I mean, you just probably were being an entertainer in itself.
Yeah, like so I was in theater, but when I first graduated from college, I was doing a lot of local theater here in St. Louis. And then I got in a relationship that I shouldn't be in. And another toxic relationship. But,
Not Jimmy.
Not Jimmy. I know. Yeah. If anything, it's like Jimmy's like the opposite of what my ex was. And it was just a lot of, long story, very controlling. And so I ended up moving back to Cincinnati because I was very burned out with shows and stuff like that. And people were like very confused by it. But I was just like, I just need to be with my family. I need to be with people that love me. Like, I got to like get my self-esteem back. And comedy was kind of a way, even if I wasn't murdering on stage, it was honestly my saving grace. Like being able to apply myself to something new, try something new that I wasn't familiar with. I like being challenged. That's like one thing,
That is the biggest challenge because it's just you.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
When you're in theater, it's like, oh, well, I didn't land that line right. Now you got somebody to pick up.
Of course.
Oh, I didn't land that joke right. Well, figure it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love being able to figure out, like if something doesn't work right, even if you bomb, you're like, all right, well, what didn't work right? What was the audience not connecting to? What was I not connecting to? And I feel like that's what I love about comedy is you're your own worst critic and you can kind of figure out what you're supposed to do out of it. But I feel like, you said you've been doing comedy for seven years?
Yeah, my first, so it would be October of 2013 was when I did my first, I think it was like October 12th.
I feel like you've got such a handle on it now, though. I love your joke about the Leonardo DiCaprio that looks like Gilbert Grape. Was there like an inspiration of where that came from?
No, people just told me I looked like Leonardo DiCaprio, and eventually you get to the point where you know which Leonardo DiCaprio you look like, and then you have enough people that tell you that that you kind of figure out a nice joke, and it is a nice 8-second joke. Yeah, people tell me I look like Leonardo DiCaprio, but it's only from what's eating Gilbert Grape. And then people laugh because they're like, "Oh my God, he's right."
And as somebody who's a Leonardo DiCaprio fan, I've seen obviously a lot of. I actually think he's a pretty good actor. So
I love that dude. I'm embarrassed though because for probably the first 6 months that I told that joke, I thought Leonardo DiCaprio was Gilbert Grape in that movie, and that's actually Johnny Depp. Arnie Grape is Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm pretty sure I had some taglines that basically called him Gilbert Grape, and nobody told me anything. Nobody corrected me for a while. So.
Don't you love that where no one says anything, and you're like, dude, where have you been for 6 months?
Yeah, exactly. I learned that I pronounced the word documentary wrong by saying it on stage incorrectly, thinking it was the right way to say it. I used to say documentary.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
Yeah, at first it was just me going, I watched this documentary about whales, and I had some bit about it.
I've only heard you say it once, though. You maybe have changed it, and then maybe it fell.
No, that was the original bit. And then
really?
People laughed at me saying documentary. I was like, what's so funny? I don't get it. And then they had to tell me afterwards, like, I'm pretty sure it said documentary, and then that basically became a bit in itself because I don't know how to pronounce words right.
Oh, it's okay. I only know because I watch a lot of documentaries, so it's okay. I actually watched a really good one recently. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called The Pharmacist. It's on Netflix. If you haven't heard of it, it's okay. But I heard it
No,
mentioned
but I
on a
love
few podcasts.
documentaries.
Yeah, it's a series. It's about this guy. I won't give too many spoilers away, but his son gets shot, and he kind of has to figure out his murder, which leads into drug addiction in his town. It's actually quite interesting. So if anybody's watching or listening, watch The Pharmacist. I think it's only 4 episodes or so, but they're an hour long each. It's really good. Have you
I will
watched
watch it.
anyone that or anyone any that's that are interesting? That
I all of the murder documentaries.
Ooh, yeah.
All of them, except I haven't watched that new one on Netflix that everybody says is too gory.
Which one is that one?
I don't even know the name of it. I'm sure just saying because I've seen some news articles. People were saying that it was too
Oh.
gory. Do you guys know what documentary I'm talking about? No.
Like a gory documentary on Netflix.
Well, they just like reveal too much of the details of this
Oh,
murder.
okay.
It's a dude that was a killer, I believe, in Southern California.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know it either.
We'll-
Okay.
Hopefully, by the time this episode releases, we'll put
We'll
it
put
in the
some kind of-
description. We'll put it in the link.
I'll drop it in
watch
the
it by
link.
now. We'll review it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just have to have John back, and we're gonna dissect this podcast. We're gonna be like, listen, or podcast.
Casually
This movie.
reviewing documentaries.
Hey, wouldn't be a bad idea. See, we're just so enterprising. What are we doing? So- anyway, moving to a funnier topic here. So yeah, we dissected documentaries.
Casually, let's talk about our day jobs in the murder documentaries podcast.
It is interesting though, because other
It is.
people, well, here's the thing, we're in a pandemic right now. There have been people who've been watching similar documentaries. If you have any like insight on what we're talking about, leave it in the comments later. And then
Yeah.
when John comes back on, we'll answer them. But what I wanted to ask you too, when you sent me this achievement, I actually wanted to know a little bit more about it. So I know about the loony bins that are around the country, but you won the loony bin contest in 2015?
Yeah, it's not. So it's the Looney Bin in Kankakee, Iowa. So it's not the loony bins that you think of, but it looks good when you're putting it on an introduction to let people know, oh, okay, this guy could tell jokes. But I'm not to discount it's a cool venue where you could do live shows. Kankakee, I believe the person that put together was Rashad Clark, which is he's a good dude. I haven't talked to him in a while, but it looks like he's doing well. And that was probably one of my, I'm obviously honored enough to put it on my credits, if you will. But I don't really know how to describe it. It was a different experience. It was a lot of fun, and that was really the point. So 2015, I'd probably been doing comedy about 2 years, and that was at the point where when I won that, it took me from going, oh, okay, this is fun, to, oh, okay, I could actually continuously grow and make something of this and make some money off of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's very cool. I love that. Sometimes you think of these different states, at least for me, when I first started doing comedy, and there's comedy is just something that's appreciated all over the country. So I think it's a great credit that you have having it in Iowa, even though you're saying, you wouldn't think, but I think it's fantastic that you achieve something like that. It's the same thing for your achievements here in St. Louis, which leads me down to, we talk to people, like I have a variety of people, musicians, entertainers, comedians, and obviously we're in St. Louis, and, I help out with St. Louis independent comedy. So that's why I kind of wanted to ask you is, why St. Louis? Why make this your home base for comedy?
I've just never left. I grew up around here, and
Where did you grow up?
I still live in my hometown of Arnold,
Oh,
Missouri.
I don't know where that is. Where's that located?
It's
Again, Cincinnati, Ohio, guys. That's why I don't know where this is.
So I technically live in Jefferson County.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Yes,
Okay.
that I know. That's a good landmark for me.
So what do you know about Jefferson County?
Angela Smith's joke. Was that the one with the meth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were the meth capital of America for a couple years.
I just didn't want to say anything because I'll still go. So
Well, no, Arnold's nice because it's right at the border of St. Louis County, so it's a nice place to live. Taxes are high. I want to move out, but I mean, I just never left. I enjoy myself there. It's quiet. I've been with the same girl for, what year is it? 11 years.
Oh, love that.
Her parents live like 3 neighborhoods down. So, you know,
That's nice.
what are we going to do? We're not going to go away from them. We enjoy being around them. And
Right.
my mom lives in Barnhart, which is 2 cities south in Jefferson County.
Okay.
As well as all my 3 siblings, they live in all Jefferson County. It's just, what am I going to do? Am I going to go move to New York and not see any of my family? I enjoy being around all my family members. And then not to discount St. Louis. St. Louis is an awesome place to do comedy. I mean, the comedy scene now, I say this every time I'm on a podcast, but it gets better every time because there's just constantly people doing it. And obviously some people give it up and then other people grow from it.
Sure.
And me, you know, I don't do comedy as much as a lot of these people that are younger and don't have to worry about, you know, paying a mortgage and stuff like that. And
Bills.
yeah, exactly. You know, doing
I understand.
the
I have bills
adult stuff.
too. So
It's not like you
okay.
could just go to a comedy club and fill out an application and make the interviewer laugh and go, "Oh yeah, we're gonna fucking work you 30 grand a year to do comedy, and you're
Yeah.
gonna figure it out." No, you know, you got to spend a lot of time not making money in order to make this even something you make gas money on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that hinders me being able to do comedy all the time. So I stay where I live and I do comedy when I can, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm spoiled that I can drive 20 minutes to St. Louis
Yeah.
and do a show.
Mhm.
It's St. Louis is cool, and then you get to see, you know, everyone. When I go to open mics, I get to see new faces all the time, and
Mhm.
people grow.
I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but what
I'm
I
sorry
loved
that I'm
was,
babbling.
you're like, I'm done.
I'm just ramble.
No, well, I think that's great because that actually leads into my next point. You put a very nice post on Facebook. I don't know if you put it in the comedians group or you just put it on your own page, but you were like, I'm really enjoying seeing people grow in our scene. And that's what I love about you is that you are very encouraging to people who are starting out. You're very nice to people in the sense of that, like, if they are like, oh, you know, I don't know, you're just like, you know, just keep trying. I remember, so here's the thing, like, John Maddie is a gem. So one day when I did a set and he was like, good set, Molly, I died. I was like, bye.
Aw.
I like walked away. I was like, all right, John Maddie approves. I'm a comedian now. I can just quit comedy. Like, he thinks I'm funny. Like,
Oh,
it was
melting.
like, it was just so, he was like, you were in the middle of talking with somebody. You were like, by the way, Molly, good set. And I was like, I remember, I think I just stood there for a second. I was like, oh, thank you. Like, I don't even know what I said. I was
hate
like,
to
okay.
tell you this, but that's another thing I don't remember.
Sorry.
I'm an awful person.
You don't remember complimenting me? I mean, geez.
Yeah. I don't remember showing you where the bathroom was. I don't.
But you know what? I actually kind of like that because if you were like, I remember saying that. I remember saying that too.
Yeah, I was
I'm really great.
knight in
Yeah.
shining armor.
Yeah.
I never forget the good things
Like,
I do.
I think it's almost the humility factor is what makes you charismatic because otherwise, like, if you had just been like, yeah, good set or something, I'd be like, hey, fuck you. Like, you're gross. Like,
Hey, better luck next time.
right.
I-
Like, I'd be like, what? But just you were like, you really meant it. Like, you saw me, you said something. This was also a while back, by the way. This was like a year ago. But the whole thing, or maybe it was in the I don't even, you know what? I don't even remember. But the point is,
Did I do this? We don't know.
we don't even remember. You know what? Everything has blended together. But why I say that is, you know, your compliments are like a golden ticket. You're like, yes, John Maddie approved. So
I appreciate that.
You know,
I usually spend most of
Mm.
my days thinking of all of the bad things I do. It's
Oh.
nice to hear some of the good things I do.
well, we came and reminded you. Are you getting a snack? Or you're getting?
Yeah, my drink's empty.
Here we go. We got it out. Crown Royal,
Free
not
advertising.
sponsored, but we do have it here. Well, while you're getting that together, speaking of, you know,
Crown Apple, that'll go with the Dr. Dazzle.
oh, the Dr. Dazzle. We actually, when we had Libby Higgins on, we
You'll
talked
need to
about
start
Aldi.
paying me,
What?
Aldi.
Wow. So if
What's
anybody
up,
wants
Aldi?
to, you know,
Let
we've
me get a
mentioned
50% discount on my Instacart next time.
Aldi. I'll have to tag them in this. I'll be like, listen. What I was going to ask you too, speaking of, you know, doing things in our free time, like going to Aldi, has there been anything that you and your girlfriend have been doing to keep busy during this time? Like, or just, you know, you in general or?
Not anything out of the usual. I mean,
Okay.
we're both blessed with we're essential workers. We haven't,
Mhm.
which is nice. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make any, you know, I know a lot of people are going
Okay.
through some hard shit,
Yeah,
but
sure.
we haven't really changed. I mean, other than not going out as much because we're trying to, you know, curve the virus or whatnot. it's pretty much been going to work and doing the same old stuff. It's just we're bigger losers, staying at home more. You know what I'm saying?
But no, I feel like that's just a thing. Like everybody's can relate to that because it's just been. I saw a meme somewhere where it was like in the 90s, like it's like make more TV, make more stuff, and now 2021, it's like stop making so much TV. Like I can't keep up. Like
Yeah.
there's so many shows where people like, have you seen this documentary? Have you seen this show? Have you seen The Good Place? Have you seen that? You know, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't watch like all these shows at once. But I can understand you're just like, and then I don't know. Sometimes I forget. I was talking with Quentin Wilbert about this actually, who's another St. Louis-based comedian. And I told him, I was
He's
like, I don't
awesome.
even remember. Yeah, he is. He's good. Good people. We were just talking about like open mics and stuff. I was like, I don't remember even being that person who used to go to open mics 5 nights a week. Now I'm like so tired when I come home. I'm like, oh, I got to do my laundry. I have to make my meal prep for the week. I have to all this stuff. And you know, have you been? Oh,
I got an
speaking-
adult.
I got an adult. That's another thing. Speaking of open mics, have you done any like Zoom shows at all? Have you been kind of on that?
No,
Okay.
I actually was. I'm probably one of the few people that are. I'm not against Zoom shows, but I've been trying to avoid them.
Okay.
It's I've been offered them, and I've just straight up told them like, no, I'm just gonna wait and try and do live shows. I
Well, we're lucky we got you on this podcast.
thank you.
You know.
I would do it even not in a pandemic.
Oh, well, thank you.
I am flattered to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I no Zoom shows. The only things that I did that were virtual is those live streams with Dirt Lake Productions.
Sure.
We did one of those with different musicians than we are doing here in this Saturday, which you'll be able to see both shows on Dirt Lake Productions.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've just basically tried to stick with live shows. So there was a solid 3 to 6 months where comedy was non-existent,
Yeah.
and it's kind of not really that different to me. I mean, it is different. There's a lot less shows that I've been able to do, but before COVID, I'm not the most consistent open micer. I always make sure I hit one open mic a week,
Sure.
but there's people in our scene that are doing it every night. It's like, and they have a right to hold that over my head because I do. People will be like, "Where the hell you been at?" Just doing work, I guess, just trying to make money.
Yeah.
But they have that right. They've grinded out and did all of those open mics and gotten funnier too. You see that in
Yeah.
people because like I said, I may only hit one certain open mic every couple months just because it's a week that I don't have an open mic anywhere else, and then you'll get to catch up on everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's like one thing I kind of miss about our scene is being able to catch up with people and see how people have been doing. I've been, with the podcast and then doing some open mics here and there, I've been able to do that. But I do kind of miss that camaraderie that we used to have in the past. Speaking of
It's coming
camaraderie,
back.
oh, go ahead. It
Funny
is coming
Bone's
back.
back.
Yeah, Funny Bone's back.
I'm so happy.
Just hosted last week, so there we go.
Did you really?
I hosted the open mic, so that was pretty fun.
Oh, I
thank you,
missed it.
Scott James. There you go.
Scott James.
Scott James, also been a guest on this podcast. So
Yeah, I listened to his episode. I actually, I also watch YouTube videos of people doing work I do. Because he was like, who does that? Who watches videos of people doing work? I do that too.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
I think there was something else I wanted to say about Scott James's episode. I really enjoyed that episode. I related to him the most.
Oh, that's one of my favorite. You saw the intro video where Scott and I are laughing about when Greg Warren was like, I haven't seen you in any clubs or colleges. And he's like, I was kidding, Greg. Because, for those of you who aren't familiar with comedy, a lot of times when you do intros and bios, it's like the weirdest thing. Like, even when I was in
It
theater,
is.
I've gotten, I like writing other people's bios. I hate writing my own bio because it's easy to, take 3 points that people give me and I'm like, all right, let me just fluff this up. Let me change this here. Let's do. But Scott and I were talking about that and he's just like, yeah, somebody's like, Scott, what intro do you need? And he was like, this is when I was doing guest sets and stuff and just starting. And he's like, oh, clubs and colleges around the country. And I guess Greg Warren, who I don't really know that well at all. I just see him. I'm like, oh, hey. But as you do when people are professional. But apparently Greg Warren was like,
This was for a guest spot at the Funny Bone?
I'm assuming
That's
so. I don't know
awesome.
the whole. You'll have to ask Scott. It's in the episode. I'm butchering this whole story, but Scott James was like, Greg Warren apparently was like, yeah, man, I haven't seen you at any clubs or colleges. And I was like, yeah, Greg, you tell him. So
That's awesome.
it was just a good line. And Scott was like, I'm kidding, Greg. So that's why when people watch the intro video, they're like, oh, wow, you and Scott are laughing really hard. That's the story we're laughing about. So, but yeah, Scott James. Yeah. So what did you relate to? I'm actually curious, and then we'll talk about you more.
He talked a lot about how he's, kind of what we were just saying. Is you as well is just having to adult while trying to do comedy. It's not the same as almost, and I'm not trying to make it an age thing, but if as a younger cat with less responsibilities as such, it's easier to commit yourself to doing comedy every night of the week. And I really related to him kind of saying, hey, it's okay if you do it a couple nights a week.
Yeah.
I really listened to the 10,000 hours thing.
Yeah.
And I really related to him saying, oh, I'll probably get to that 10,000 hours in 30 years. Yeah, I probably will too once my kids go to college,
Yeah.
I don't even have kids yet, I really just, I'm not, Scott's a cool dude, and I enjoy him, and I'm not saying we're the same.
It's the
but
only
I relate
episode
to
that
him a
he
lot.
liked. Okay.
No, I told you guys I vetted her. Reggie, Stefan, you guys are hilarious. Who
Let's
else
just
did I
do
watch?
some ones. There
no,
you go.
Yeah.
Let's
Let me
just
just
shout 'em
name off
out.
all the episodes
that
I
I've
heard.
watched.
Gabe Kia. I just found out that I've been pronouncing your last name wrong for about 3 years. I thought it was Gabe Key. I am a dick. I also am one of those guys that he was talking about Christmas lights and the lazy people that use projector lights instead of actually hanging their lights every year. I am that guy.
Shut up.
I take 7 minutes to hang.
Well,
my
that's why
Christmas
you and your
lights.
girlfriend are still together. So
Yeah,
there you
because we're not
go.
arguing. No, it's not centered, honey. No, totally right.
You
Yeah.
want 11 years of happiness? You just put up those
Just
projector,
put up the projector lights.
lights.
Here's the thing. I live at a main road, and then my street. I'm at the corner of that, and so there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of regular traffic, and somebody stole one of our projector lights this year.
No, they
Yes.
didn't.
Just pulled it out of it was staked into the ground. They pulled it out, unplugged it, and walked off with the projector light.
And you're like, wow, thanks, man.
Yeah, wow. I'm out $12 from Walmart.
Taking $12 from
But
my
still,
wallet?
oh, this is a nice light. I'm gonna pull it out and take it with me. It's like that doesn't make any sense.
Oh my
to me.
God, that's really. Speaking of your girlfriend,
Yeah,
you
she's
have a
blowing me up.
joke. Well, I haven't met her, but I'm sure she's wonderful if she's dating John. So, what's her
She
name?
is wonderful. Jennifer. Jen.
Jennifer?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
cute. Oh, I've never met a Jennifer I haven't liked, or a Jen. So,
She's great.
Yes.
Jen with 2 N's.
ooh, I like it. Double, yay. When you have 2 N's, you mean business. So there you go.
I'm John with 2 N's.
So, but no, wait, it's just something. What I wanted to ask you is you do have a joke about how you walked up to a bartender and you were like, hey, cool eyeballs.
Cool eyeballs.
Is that Jen with 2 N's?
No, it's
Oh,
not.
shoot.
No, this is. I actually would love to talk about this. That
Okay.
actually is a story from a friend of mine that never happened to me. And
Oh.
that is comedy sometimes. Sometimes you whatever. But Corey Branham, he's not a comic. He's just a buddy of mine. We were in Florida on a vacation. We were drunk one night telling stories, and he tells me that exact story of how he had an awkward interaction with a lady taking IDs at a bar. And at no point at that time I was like, oh, I'm going to use that as a bit. And then it kind of culminated itself. And now I'm texting him every time, being like, dude, I just did that bit, and it fucking did. It's actually
killed.
funny.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? He hasn't seen it yet.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, he's got to see it.
Hopefully
it's one of
he
my
listens to
favorite
this
bits.
podcast
Yes.
and goes, oh, now Molly Amberguy's shouting it out. That must be good.
I was like, now we've reached a whole. Now we have it on streaming services. Cool eyeballs.
Cool. Cool
Did
eyeballs.
she ever go out with him?
No. I just, what am I going to do? Oh, a buddy of mine did this. Oh, isn't that? No, you make it about yourself.
Right.
And
Sometimes that happens, though. You're not the first person I've heard that's used a story and applied it. Because sometimes you have to, I feel like there's some people who will never have the gift of gab to do like comedy. And I'm not saying that's your friend, but I've had friends give me permission who feel that way. And they're like, Can you use this story in a bit? I give you full permission.
How often do people hit you up? It's like, hey, I got a bit for you.
Even for this podcast. Oh, I've got a great podcast idea. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. It's like I should make a meme where it's like no one at all. Hey, I got a great bit. Like,
Sometimes, look, it's difficult to keep an open mind there because
Yeah.
I have been through the ones where it's just like, this. It's funny to us right now, but it's not ever going to work to anybody
I
that
agree.
isn't there. But
Mhm.
that's a great example, and it's not. But he never came up to me like, hey, you should use this as a bit. It was just kind of us just.
Us having
shooting
a
the shit.
silent agreement.
But sometimes you got to keep an open mind to that,
Mhm.
as far as people giving you not necessarily just jokes all the way through, but some of that stuff might actually apply to bits you're already doing and
Right.
actually produces taglines. And I have definitely been like, people be like, hey, I got a bit for you. I'd be like, oh, fucking great. Yeah, let's hear this
I've
one.
done that too.
Heard one Thursday about somebody's dick falling into their asshole. Let's fucking hear this one. And after a while, you're like, you got to sift through all the shit. But some people actually, I mean, not bits that I've used, but like some people could actually be funny if they did it themselves.
Yeah,
But
I
then they go to
agree.
us, it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to emulate
Well,
what you're
that's
doing.
the other thing too. No, I agree. But this actually, not to take us off this topic, but this kind of remind me of something else that you do that I like. There's sometimes I see this in more people who are new to comedy, but I see this on some people, if you don't get a laugh, right, at an open mic, or you get a little depressed because you're not like receiving the laughs that you wanted to, you have a really nice way of still trying to relate to the audience and getting them in, and then eventually, if they don't laugh at your first joke, they suddenly kind of, you know how it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not
Yes.
saying that no one's going to laugh at your first joke.
You let them know that it's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just more of me doing the same jokes over and over again. I mean, obviously we all grow and continuously write bits, but I'm definitely a slower progress through my bits as other people are, as far as moving on to new bits or writing new stuff and getting better. And the advantage of that is that when you know a joke is good, you can eventually, you've done that joke so many times that you make a tagline or you say something that lets them know this joke is funny.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes people, whether it is you're going up first and you're trying to break the crowd loose, you tell a joke that you know is funny. If they don't react right, it's not necessarily you go. Because what's the thing that we hear the most from newer comics that bugs us? Oh, that joke wasn't good. They're beating
Yeah.
themselves up on stage. No, and this goes to anybody that's trying to learn. Don't ever do that. I mean, everybody does it. I've done that all the time. Oh, that joke sucks. Let's do another one. And then sometimes people laugh, and then sometimes people are going, well, what are you doing up there? Don't do that. Once you get to some bits that you like, or that are funny, or that is true to yourself, or all of those, and that doesn't land well at a certain crowd, there's going to become a point where you're going to be like, let me reiterate that and let you know why it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's more of a bad thing to me, is because I do. There's a lot of bits that I've continuously slowly changed, but
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I know this is good. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me give you this tagline to help you laugh at that last tagline.
Well, what I love though is that you're not nasty about it though. Like you kind of you're gregarious enough to let it in. Like what I don't like is when some people are like, "Well, fuck you guys. This is really funny."
No,
and I don't like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. You shouldn't do. You shouldn't be negative about it. And not to say that I'm a professional, but compared to a lot of people out there, but once you know what you're doing after a while, you will be able to even take that dead silence on a bit and turn it into a laugh. Even if that joke that you first did is not good and you're kind of just growing from it, you'll be able to go, oh, well, instead of me actually taking time and going, oh, I acknowledge that joke sucks. You guys are right. You just move on to the next one. You have that.
Yes.
You have that. Just okay. Well, and you're not saying this out loud, but in your head you're going, move on. Okay, that didn't work. Move on. Let's go to a bit that I know. And Sean Arredondo.
I love Sean.
I
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
I also listened to Sean Don's episode. I really like Sean Don.
Sean
and
Don.
He also shouted out Arredondo, and I will too, because one of his best advice he gave to me is that you sandwich your bits. Like if you're at an open mic, you'll do a bit you know is funny that you've worked on that's polished, and then you'll do a bit or a joke that you're working on. And then if that doesn't work out, even if it does work out, you've already got your next bit is another one that you know works and that you know is funny. You're sandwiching them in with something. So even if that one joke that you did sucked, if it's new, whatever the case may be, if it didn't go well that time, you've got that padded, so you can continuously, you do one joke you know works, and then work on a new one, and then one joke you know works, and then continuously do that, work on a new one the next time. And and that'll help you also understand that the ability to move on and not be like, oh my God, I'm going to beat myself up about it in front of you guys here. You know what I'm saying? Because I did that for a long time, and now it's my pet peeve, and I still do it from time to time.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm a
it's
hypocrite.
easy. It happens, and I feel like it's just something that comes with ease. Like even when just as like when I was hosting the open mic last week, like half of this room was really quiet, and then you had like a really kind of rowdy birthday party. So, you know, being the host, you're like bringing people up, you're introducing people. And I won't say who said this because I don't want to like brag about like, oh, it was so great or something. I wasn't. Like, it was like very quiet except for the party. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just how it was during the whole show. Like, people were still laughing, but this party was like, woo! Woohoo! You know?
I'm
Like,
30.
Exactly. Like,
Look at this shiny crown on my head.
like
my husband's fishing.
we've all dealt with those bachelorette parties, the
Well, that
birthday
was-
parties.
It was like when I listened to my set, I was just like, I don't even know if I did well because you know when you're doing something and you just hear people screaming and laughing just after everything, and you're like, is this because they're drunk or because like they're having a good time?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what's great is you could like half of those parties you could have a bad time with them, and they'll be like, well, I had a bad, and then they'll leave and be like, all right, I had a good time.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was the thing. I had a best, like they were really
They won't
nice
say it
about
that
it.
articulate.
Oh, totally.
Oh,
This one lady, she just goes, you make it look so easy. Like you're having the best time. And I was like, I am. But that's what I felt. I was like, you know what? If that's what I'm getting out of this tonight, that I made it look easy, that I'm having the best time. So I won't, bring up her name. I say this like everybody's going to know her name, but literally like.
Was she a comic?
No, she
What's
was
her
just
name?
the person. Lisa.
How do you know her?
That was the person in the party. I don't know. She was drunk and came up to me and said, you made it look easy and we had fun. And I went, great.
I don't know what
Thank
to
you.
think about you, Lisa.
But thank you, Lisa. That was like,
Thank you, and you're rude? I don't know.
But that's the thing. She had a great time, so that's all that matters. But it's just something like, I could have let that get to me. Is my point. Like I could have been like, oh man, like my set's ruined and this and stuff. But I had a good time. I wiped the mic in between, brought people up.
This was during COVID.
So yeah, very mics in the time of COVID, but it was just a good time, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel like, there was something I was listening to on another podcast where it's kind of like, even when I saw the party, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have to, kind of reel this in and stuff. But once you just get up there and like, I'm gonna have the best time, I'm gonna enjoy myself. You really just have the best time and you enjoy yourself.
You lean into it.
And then you touch a lady named Lisa who told
you touched her during COVID times?
I touched her heart. So.
Oh, you got me. I walked right into that one.
I know.
That's great.
Speaking of touching
gonna
people's
say.
hearts, though, has there anybody that you have enjoyed working with? It could be a local person. It could be somebody of like kind of a bigger stature. It's entirely up to you.
I've had a lot of good times with a lot of good comics, local and far. The one I always go to, and he probably doesn't know my name at all, but the Raging Cajun John Morgan. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For starters, he's probably the funniest dude I've ever seen.
He's very good.
I will watch whenever I have emceed for him over the weekends. I will watch every single. Have you've emceed at Helium over
Yes.
the weekend?
Mhm.
So in that regard, you understand that sometimes when you MC over a weekend, there's certain comics where you watch one set, and you may not have to watch the rest of the sets that weekend because it's kind of the same thing. And I mean, you do, not to say they're not funny. They are funny, but
Yeah.
it's like, I don't got to watch all this. I could go have a drink or have a smoke or whatever I do, go talk with my friends or whatever. With John Morgan, I will watch every set, 90% of the set. Sometimes I'll go out for a smoke, but I always have a good time. And that's not why I bring him up. It's more so when when I was first kind of growing at the Valley Park Funny Bone, which we had talked about, at one point he was there for the weekend, and I think I might have been hosting that weekend, or I might have just been there to try and get a guest set. You know how that is.
Sure.
And I guess I had bought a CD. I had to have, because he wound up signing the CD, and it was his signature, and it just says, "Take no advice." And it's not but it's more just like, do what, because we had a conversation. He didn't even know who I was. He didn't know any of my bits. He might not even known I was a comic. I probably just told him, because at that time that's what you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the best advice I had ever heard, is just take no, and not to say don't take advice from people, but it's just like, do what you do you.
Yeah.
You know, and John Morgan. Coming from John Morgan, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You watch him on stage, and then you hear him say that, and it's just like, this is a revelation. You know, I really like him. I got to host for him at Donnie B's in Springfield, and
Oh, okay.
and I don't know why I bring it up. We had the best time. He still probably doesn't know my name, but he
That's
looks at my
okay.
face like, "Hey, brother," and we just
Yeah.
have a great time and have a drink, and whatever. It's just, and he's so fucking funny.
Yes, he's the best. Yeah, I agree. But I feel like that's a cool.
Skew me. Do you know that bit?
Yeah.
Skew.
I love when people are physical too, and they still make it super.
He
being
does a
from theater,
handstand over against the wall. And,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
It's always I understand how you feel about that though. My first weekend I ever did at Helium was at pre-March, starting out 2020. I was like, 2020 is not going to be so bad. I hosted for Erica Rhodes, and she was on NBC's Bring the Funny, or something like Bringing the Funny. I can't remember the name of the show. That's how bad it's gotten, guys. I was like, when I was hosting, knew the name of the show, knew everything. But
She's getting real big now. You can't keep track of all
you
that
just can't keep
stuff.
track of all these people.
Casually Molly podcast. I mean, come on.
But it
There's
was,
a lot of stuff
you know,
going
just
on.
like just casually subscribe, guys. Thanks. Just keep getting some sponsors here.
You should.
You know,
I vetted her. I don't know if you guys heard that the last 6 times, but the episodes I heard, they were great. You should.
I mean, by the time this is over, people are gonna be like, if not John with the no H is doing it, we gotta do
Dude,
it.
I'm telling you, if you enjoyed this episode at all, you will enjoy the other ones way more, because
Aw.
I am the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, not at all. That's why I wanted, I was even, well, we'll talk about that in a second, but why I bring this up is that people were like, you don't have to watch the whole set. You can just watch the first night if you want or whatever. But I was like, I'm going to watch her every night. And it was kind of cool to go and see each audience have a different reaction every night. It was kind of like theater to me when I used to see plays, and I would see, when I was stage managing, I would see different audiences react each night. And it was kind of interesting to see which jokes hit what people and what crowd and stuff. And these were shows on like a
demographics
Wednesday
of
and a
it.
Thursday and a Friday, Like I was like, wow, people are lit on a Wednesday. Let me tell you what, like the Friday show.
You'd think the midnight show on Saturday is the most lit, but that's usually the opposite.
Right.
You go to the Sunday show, and that's usually some of those shows on Sunday, 7 p.m. Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
And then some, obviously every crowd's different.
Yes.
But it's wild. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That
I'm
wasn't
just so excited.
interrupting. No, that answered my question. But speaking of things,
What was your question?
That answered just my question about, we were talking, I think we were talking about shows, and we were talking about John Morgan, and I was like, well, I'm relating because of Erica wrote. We were watching The Audience about, and how you didn't have to watch a set each night, but, seeing people's bit and watching them. And I was just saying, I loved watting her every night.
There's just
which
some
was cool.
comics that obviously they don't just do the same bits over.
Yeah.
There are some, I kind of relate to the people that I'm kind of referencing to, that you don't have to watch the set every time, because I'll do the same jokes, and they're in a sequence over a weekend, because that's what I'm working on. But there's not much deviation. I mean, there might be some tags here that are fun, and then the crowd obviously will make it a whole lot different.
Yeah.
And then there's some comics, John Morgan might do, 3 of the same bits in every headlining set, but then he does 30 minutes of different shit every single set, and it's based off of exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, he might not get to his first bit after the first 20 minutes because he sees somebody in the crowd that he wants to talk shop with. You know, and that's some of the great things about being an MC or wherever you are in comedy, as far as being able to watch that and learn.
Yeah.
And what was her name again?
Oh, the one that I hosted for?
Yes.
Erica Rhodes.
Erica
She's
Rhodes.
very cute. Yeah, and
Does
she's
she-
also funny. So
Where were you performing with her at?
Helium.
Helium?
Yeah, it was like one of the first
So
shows
Friday,
of January.
Saturday? You said Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know why I
Really?
said Friday. There was
At
Wednesday. I was
Helium?
like Wednesday and Friday. Yeah, we had a Wednesday, Thursday show, and people came. Like it was a big turnout for the middle of the week.
So how many shows total?
So 2, because we didn't
One
do a
Wednesday,
weekend.
one Thursday?
Yeah, because they didn't do a weekend that weekend. They did 2 shows with Erica, and it was a lot of fun. I will
So
say.
was her set essentially the same?
So, yeah, actually, she changed it up. Like, she did a lot of things, but I loved watching her process because Bobby J. Cox featured. So I got to be able to, it's nice to always hang out with Bobby, who's also been on this podcast. But
Indeed.
it was cool to see, because I would be obviously emceeing, hosting the show. I would introduce Bobby, and then I get to talk to Erica, and I would see her process of like writing stuff out and stuff. And she was very humble. She's a lovely person. You should follow her on all the social media platforms. But she's like, I don't
Erica
even know what to do.
Rhodes.
Like, what do I do? You know, she was so cute. But then the thing is, like, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's got a bit here. She has her way of doing it. She'll put like the dots with the ellipses, but she's got a whole set lined out. And it's like amazing how she just goes up there and she's just not to be like, she's herself, but she, I don't know, she kind of reminds me a little bit of you. She just falls into it. She's having a good time. And like afterwards, I remember I was like, you're great. Like, I just like, everybody was having a good time with her, which is why, again, I like you because everybody's
Oh,
having a
thank
good time
you.
with you.
I don't know how I'm still in this seat. I'm melting so much.
Oh, just keep drinking that. What is it? Dr. Dazzle.
You say it like, oh, what are these vagrants drinking?
He's
Dr.
I
Dazzle.
mean, that's a doctorate drink
Crown
right there.
Royal Apple and Dr. Dazzle. It doesn't matter. You do 1 part Crown Royal Apple, 1 part Dr. Dazzle, do 1 part Crown Royal Apple, do 4 part Crown Dr. Dazzle. You're going to have a good time. It's going to taste great either way. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. Can I try it later?
Absolutely. I've still got an unopened can of Dr. I came here, I was like, dude, I'm going to show off this drink that's probably not actually that good. But
Well, he achieved. He
I'm telling
accomplished
you,
it.
just try it and then tell me it sucks. Okay?
love that.
Try it first.
I love that. I mean, we've got a doctor in the name here, so we mean business.
This probably doesn't make a difference at all, but Dazzle, not Pepper.
Go to Aldi.
Dude, I honestly, this is my favorite non-Dr. Pepper doctor drink. You know what I'm
Nice.
saying? It is, but I'm also a soft spot for Aldi. What's your thoughts on Aldi before I start going off on
Oh, so Libby Higgins and I, when I had Libby, I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. When Libby came on, we talked about Aldi because she bought a bird bath
this?
there.
Yeah, the one aisle that changed, dude. That aisle alone, even if you don't fuck with Aldi's groceries, go to the seasonal aisle. They've got some different. I bought my weight set there. I've got little dumbbells, and you just literally pull a little thing up and move it over. Oh, you want to lift 5 pounds or 10 pounds? Just boop, boop, boop. Oh, you're fucking getting it. The only thing I regret is not buying 2 of them because I can only work 1 arm out at a time now.
You only
Dude, I'm
bought
t-
one?
Yeah, I was like, well, it was like, I think it was like $40. I was like, it goes up to 25 pounds. You go, 5 pounds or 25 pounds.
So
Just
that's
move
like
it
such a
way
ripoff
over.
because that's not even
No.
a set. It's just one like, hey.
Yeah, so you're going to buy a 25 dumbbell or a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 dumbbell for $40? No.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I regret not buying 2 of them.
Yes.
Because they're awesome.
Oh my God.
That's not the only thing I bought from Aldi, but I mean, come
Just
on.
imagining
I
John
bought a
with like
fu-
his groceries and his Dr.
Yeah.
Dazzle. He's like,
Exercise by
oh,
Aldi.
and this weight. Thank
Yeah.
you. The person's
I've,
like,
I've
all
got
right,
a
we're
Crown
s-
Apple Dazzle in one hand, and I'm just fucking doing, what are these, curls? I'm
I'm
sponsored by
laughing
Aldi. I don't even make money from
Now
Aldi.
people can see why I think you're funny. You literally, John Maddie's like, Hi, I'm John with now that is definitely what Leo DiCaprio and Gilbert Grape would do. He would buy one weight.
You can, yeah, because I'm a cheap ass. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy 2 of them. What if they suck? It's from Aldi. That's my mistake for not believing in Aldi in the first place. I should have been like Libby, and she bought a bird bath from Aldi. Are you serious? If you could buy a bird bath from Aldi, you could definitely buy 2 dumbbells from Aldi.
I bought a spice rack, but when I say rack, it's kind of a ripoff that I bought it from Aldi. It looked cool.
A spice shelf.
It really is. It's a spice shelf, but like the spices kind of fall off the shelf a little bit because they don't match because all my spices are different and I don't have like a matching set.
The right shape and size spices.
Exactly. So some of them fall off. So.
You only need to buy your spices from Aldi with this spice rack. You know what's funny? I bet you they sell that spice rack and they don't even have the right size spices there.
Yeah, probably not. And we can say this because Aldi isn't sponsoring this podcast, at least not yet.
We do what we want. But Aldi's pretty dope.
Oh, Aldi is the best. It's the only place I shop for groceries. But speaking of
That's
things
all I needed to hear because I asked you earlier. You didn't even answer. You were like, oh, let me tell you about Libby's story. You didn't even tell me what you thought about Aldi.
well, that's the thing. Cash and
Buy
Molly
all
just
my
talk
groceries
about
from Aldi.
everybody. It is true, though. That's like, so on Libby's video on YouTube, it's because like she's a sensation. It has like over 1,800 views and people are like
she
giving their
is.
views on it. And this one person was like, yeah, I love Aldi. It's like, I'm not really interested in horseback riding, but there's a saddle here. So maybe I'll get into it. Like, it's no big deal.
You
And I
know,
laughed
I
so
don't
hard.
really like flamethrowers, but they got a torch here and it throws flames.
Like, maybe I'll get into it. I don't know if I need this, like, plastic thermos that says boss bitch, but maybe I'm a boss bitch. Like, I don't know.
I bought the Boss Bitch thermos. I mean,
With
come
the weight.
on, Aldi.
John
$8,
Maddie,
you can't beat that. It's
Dr.
way better than a
Dazzle,
Yeti.
The weight, and then he's got his, like, he's
Bad
like,
bitch
and I'm
thermos.
going to drink my Crown Royal and
yeah.
Dr. Dazzle because I'm a boss
In
bitch.
my Boss Bitch thermos that obviously I didn't buy.
Oh, my God. See, again, you should follow not John Maddie.
That's funny. It's like you go to Aldi and you're like, you know what? What do I want to try now? Let's go to the seasonal aisle. Oh, they got a slip and slide. I guess I need hip surgery here in a month. $6 for a tarp and a hose. Let's go. Dude, I'm serious though. That aisle is, I mean, if it's not for the cheap groceries, it's got to be for the seasonal aisle. You never know what you're going to get, and you're always
You really
satisfied.
don't. You're like, I mean, Libby walked out with the bird bath. I asked her, I was like, have you put it out yet? She's like, oh, it's still in my car. And I was like, well, that's going to be the upcoming episode, Libby Higgins putting a bird bath together. I'm ready. I do have a funny story about you, though. So I was stalking you on Facebook, obviously.
Oh,
like,
awesome.
John's vetting me. I'm going to vet him. So
This is fair.
there's a great, I don't know why I found this so funny, but I did. I mean, I think everybody's going to agree with me, but you shared a post, the original, I can't even say it. Like, I wrote it down on this notepad. The original post was, if you still have snow on top of your car, you're a piece of shit. And then he updated it. What happened? Oh, that's what I wanted to know. I was like, what happened when you almost got killed by a sheet of snow sleet off the roof of a caravan? What happened?
It's simple. So what that snowstorm, like, it was what was it, like a time hop or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a snowstorm a few days ago, 2 years ago, if that makes sense. That's what it showed up on my memories or whatever. And that post, I think it says word for word, if you don't take the snow off your car, you're a piece of shit or something like that.
Yeah.
That's because everybody that day decided to drive their cars with these big, like, it was like 4 or 5 inches of snow on their cars. And I don't know if you noticed this, but if you do that, and let's say you heat up your car, there's like a film of like watery ice, and it just flies off of the roof of your car. And so if you're riding behind, like, let's say a 2003 Dodge Caravan with 8 feet of snow long ways on the roof of it, and it flies up and goes towards you, you're probably going to shit your pants, right? So, look.
And that's the story about John shitting his pants, everybody. There we go.
But every time we have a big snow here in St. Louis, everybody goes, oh, I'll just clean off my windshield and drive. And then all of the snow flies off at once off the roof onto whoever's behind them in traffic, and they're just like, fuck it, I'll keep driving. Let me tell you personally, with my face on this screen right now or in your ears, you're a piece of shit if you do that. Okay? I've had just enough Crown Royal to tell you, fuck off. And I probably wouldn't be as motivated, but that actually happened that day. I'm sure-
Really? So it went on your car.
No, it probably no. I didn't have any damage or anything, but,
But that's good.
you watch this big 4x4 sheet of white come at you that you're not expecting when you're driving.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's
I
gonna
don't
land
even
right on your
laugh,
car
but
or
I'm just
right. I
imagining
think it
John's
landed.
face.
Yeah. You can imagine anybody's face with that happening. I mean, some people I'm sure it's happened to. I hope I'm not the only one that thinks this should be a law.
If you also have been experiencing this, you can call our crisis hotline. It is 1-800-725-casual.
If you're a victim of ice falling off somebody else's car and hitting yours, just contact @NotJohnMaddie on Instagram. We can just both vent about it together, really.
Where is the black and white filter that we need for this? Where it's like, did you think that you were alone? Have you experienced
There's two things that bother me
anxiety?
about cars, and it's that, and then anybody that drives around with their high beams on. Just fucking fix your low beam headlight. You know those people? They'll drive around. So I don't know what bothers me more. The people that don't fix their original headlight and just turn their high beams on because they don't want to get pulled over because they probably got weed on them, or the people that don't know they have their high beams on and that is just on because they could see better. Which one's worse? You don't.
Yeah.
You no opinion?
So no, I haven't seen a ton.
I
so.
honestly think it's the people that are. I would rather you be an old grandma that just like, I could see better when this blue light's on my dash, than somebody that goes, oh, I got a headlight out and I don't want to pay $8 at AutoZone to replace this goddamn headlight. I'm just gonna turn my high beams on so St. Louis don't pull me over. You're a prick. Grandma, I'll
seen.
probably just like flash you. I'll like flash my high beams and let you know that I'm annoyed, but I'll be okay with it because you're just trying, you know. You probably can't see well in the first place, Grandma. I understand. You want to turn them high beams on? I'll just get behind you. But if I can tell you've got good vision and that you're turning your high beams on because you're a cheap ass and don't want to fix your headlight, we got problems. If you got a headlight out with your high beams on and snow on the top of your car, we really got problems.
He's serious.
Dude, this is probably the most amped up I've ever. I can't do this on stage because it's not funny. Now it's just me. Like, this is me venting. There's no. The only person that's laughing is probably Molly. I understand. Either you guys are going, man, this dude is preaching, or shut up, John. I understand, but if you're telling me to shut up, that's probably because you turn your high beams on at inappropriate times and that you could suck a dick. All right, let's move on.
The reason why I'm laughing, we also had Andy Hamilton come on before
God,
we
I
were
hope
even
he
in
said the
studio.
same thing. Let's hear it.
His episode was called Casually Salty.
I'm really salty
And so
right
this
now.
is what reminds
There's
you.
salt in my drink,
And,
and
you
it's
know,
not from the Dazzle.
You're a car guy, Andy's a car guy, Jimmy's a car guy, and like, especially with Jim, like I had a tail light out. I didn't even know, obviously, because you know what happens with tail lights. So I pulled up and he's like, we need to go to AutoZone right now.
Yeah, he probably
Like-
fixed it in 8 seconds.
we went to AutoZone, pulled it was totally fine. But
Dude,
Andy
Jimmy,
was complaining about driving
you're the man.
too.
We're
Yeah.
about to be a little bit more buddies than we were.
Oh yeah. Oh, like I said, he'll definitely show
I'm
you
interested.
the Cobra and the Bronco. I actually
Dude.
hit a grease trap once when I was leaving work. When I leave work, I have to go through
A
an
grease
alleyway.
trap?
It was like for a restaurant where I pull out of my work parking lot. There's a bunch of restaurants, and there's like a
Are there grease traps in the street now?
no,
Where-
no.
how do-
So here's
I
like
thought grease traps were still in the kitchen.
so there is, but there's another one I guess outside. They were like
Oh,
you hit
like the big like tank thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Because
want to hear this.
so I'm like leaving where I work in the Central West End. Obviously, it's right next to another restaurant, and the parking lot is back where I have to go through an alleyway to get back onto the regular street.
Uh-huh.
So of course, like somebody in their Mercedes just like pulls in, doesn't even. I'm like, and I'm
So
gonna,
now you got to back up.
So now I got to back up. So I I
Because
couldn't.
they drive a Mercedes, they got places to
They-
be. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Exactly.
it makes sense,
They
right?
were like, "How dare you?" And so I'm like, God, now I got to like back up. And of course, it's the worst when people are watching you back up because they're like,
pressure,
"What's
pressure.
gonna do?" You know? And I'm like, "Oh gosh." So I'm like pulling around, and I'm actually doing pretty good. I see the 2 dumpsters,
But the Mercedes is rushing you.
but so I'm trying to move back, and this guy, like I'm the problem, was just like, "What the fuck? Like, just move." So then,
That's where you messed up.
that's where I got nervous, and I feel like a bunch of glass just break, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And I hear all the people who work in the restaurant. They go, "Oh!" So I like get up. And I'm like in my boots and I'm like in my like fox fur coat that I have. I'm like, one moment. And I look out and I just see my whole back.
just hit this grease trap over here.
I got out and I called Jimmy when I got to my apartment. I was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, now? Can you come fix my tail light? Because I needed it.
So
And
it
he-
wasn't just a bulb, though.
well, that was the bulb the first time. The second time, it was the whole part was just, it was like, I
We
was
need
just,
to order this on eBay and wait for shipping.
oh yeah. He was like, here's the link, just buy it. And then it came like 2 days later, which was pretty quick. They said it's gonna be like 10 days, and then 2 days later, it's like
You
at my. I
probably
was
bought
like,
it on Rock Auto.
I'm like, oh, I don't even.
They always overquote the delivery.
I'm gonna
times.
be honest. I don't even know what site it was. My boyfriend
It was
just sent
Rock
me.
Auto.
I was clueless. He goes, I've never used this site, but it has
Or
the
eBay.
lights or eBay, one of the two. But I got it, and it was done. So it does help to know somebody in the car business, just like this guy over here.
That's how I keep in good terms with my lady.
Yeah.
I just, you don't worry about fixing your cars at all, and then we'll be okay.
Be okay. Well, this has been pretty great. I'm
Wait,
really
are,
happy.
are we almost over?
Yeah, I actually have one more question.
No,
to ask
I
you.
have one more question.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
We mostly hit all the things I wanted to hit, which I greatly appreciate.
Okay.
This has been
Oh,
great so far.
Wonderful.
Um, So I have a question followed by a request, depending on the answer.
okay.
I did listen to the episode with you and Jimmy Day.
Oh.
This was back, I guess, when you guys first started dating in
Oh my God.
2018.
That was in my apartment. Oh my God. I was like not even
Is
that
that-
good of a podcaster
Is that
then.
the only interview you guys did together?
We did that one, and then we did one. Jack, Jimmy, and I did one together
On for Jack's podcast? Or,
for Jimmy and Jack's. We did like
Oh.
a dual recording, so it's on.
Oh, so it
their
is on yours too?
So it's on mine, and then Jimmy and Jack, they always do on Day at Night. They do a little
Oh.
segment together beforehand, and then I'm at the end.
Well,
so
that ruins my request.
what's the request?
I just wanted to hear you guys do another interview now that you guys have been together for a while,
Mm-hmm.
because I listened to the first interview when you guys were just starting. I was like, oh, this is nice. They're like getting along, and it's not to say that me and my lady don't get along, but if we were to do a podcast and interview each other, I guarantee you by the end of the episode it would be me going, why do you leave all your laundry in the baskets and don't put it away? And then her going, why do you leave the dishes stacked up like we'd just be arguing about random household shit? And I would love to hear, you guys have been together for a couple years now.
Yeah,
Or
mhm.
more than
It's gonna
2
be
years.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
3 years and how long?
In August. So
In
this
August,
upcoming-
so it's
yeah.
upcoming.
Yeah.
I would love to hear how that progresses as a person that knows kind of how
Yeah.
it progresses in a productive way. Like, I could never imagine you guys, like, it was a good interview when you guys first started.
Oh my God.
you
I
know,
feel
dating?
like that was a lifetime ago too. Because I wasn't even that good at podcasting then. I was just like, hey,
You guys
do
did
you wanna
great.
do an
I thought it was
episode?
great.
Aw, thanks.
And it was more because I relate to it. It's like, oh,
Sure.
well, this is nice. But I want to hear the follow up.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to argue more? You guys are probably going to get along better. It's just,
Yeah.
I
We've
wanna
done-
know.
We
Fill
haven't
me
done a
in.
one-on-one in a while. We've done, like, we did one with Jack, and then I stepped in as co-host when Jimmy had Bobby Jaycox on his podcast. And Bobby and I are very, like, you know what I mean? We're very
Yeah.
gregarious. We're like, energy, energy, energy. And, like, Bobby Jaycox, another, obviously, we talked about him earlier, great comedian. And Jimmy's,
very
like,
good.
was so happy about it. He's like, oh, yeah, you guys were, like, he was a great guest, and, like, you
Jimmy
had
probably
energy.
didn't have to do anything.
He
It
was just like, this was awesome.
all right, go ahead. I'm Ollie and Bobby. I'll be back in 30 minutes.
Yeah, he just led the thing, and like Bobby's like, well, I've got a point. I was like, I've got a point too. And Jimmy was like, after we were done and Bobby left, he was like, I got a lot to work with. This went well. I was like, oh, good.
That's
But
not
yeah,
surprising.
I'd love to do that. We've been talking about it. It's just worked like, it's just, when you're both doing podcasts, sometimes it's hard because he's got a schedule and But you know what he did help me with? I just did, if anybody listens to it, it's only on audio, so it's not on our YouTube channel for those who are watching on YouTube. But I wrote a play called Lady Warrior, and it was in the Fringe Festival here.
Oh, Fringe is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, 2019. So yeah, 2 years ago, because it's 2021 now. And then I had it it was originally with another cast member in the Afro-Bain Emerging Arts Festival with Slightly Askew Theater Ensemble at the Centene. But my friend Kara, who did the one in the Fringe with me, Kara's been one of my dear friends. We met through theater. She's been in all of my plays when I produce shows. So obviously I was like, hey, can you do the play reading for it? And I did the sound design, but Jimmy helped me edit it. And that was actually kind of a testament to our relationship, because when you're doing sound design and you're trying to tell people like what to do and where you want things to put,
Business.
yeah, he could
How long ago
easily be
was
like, this was so Lady Warrior came out last month because we started out.
So this was recent. This was during COVID
Yeah,
times.
so we did the play here, and then I wasn't sure because it was my first audio play, and Jimmy does all the sound design for Day at Night. So I was like, hey, I picked all these clips and these music. Why don't you kind of show me what you think works best? And we sat for 3 hours to do sound design for 30 minutes. And we didn't get in one fight. We didn't get upset.
Oh, then your follow-up episode's probably not going to be as good as I thought.
Oh, well, there's other things we argue about. Like, I don't want to move to the suburbs. And he's like, just stay in St. Peter's for 6 months. And I'm like,
You know, I agree with both of you.
Mm-hmm.
If I could get, the reason why I stayed in Arnold was I got the most bang for my buck there in a sense, as because me and Jen bought a house in March of 2017 in Arnold, and when we were looking, I really wanted to move more towards the city because I was like, all right, this is easier for me to do comedy.
Yeah.
But you start looking at houses and the price per the amount of space you get and stuff, just the actual numbers as such, it really is a turnoff. So in that regard, I would say, yeah, you should listen to Jimmy.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, it was like, I want to move to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should move to the city. So
well, you know what it
I
is,
understand.
John?
I understand both sides.
And I understand both too. Like, I understand exactly, because you're right, the bang for your buck, and he's very good at finance stuff. Like, he's very good about budgeting, and he even
God,
helps.
he's fucking good at everything.
Like,
dude.
he's very
He
good at
rebuilds
budgeting.
cars. He's good at money. I'm gonna steal him from you. I'm sorry, Molly and Jennifer, but
Well, it's all right, Jen with 2 N's. I'm
Wow.
Molly with 2 L's. So we're gonna be perfect together. I can't wait.
follow-up episode, the Casually Jimmy Day and John Maddie podcast.
Yes, I'm just gonna step out one day, and I'm just gonna
It's
leave.
just gonna be us talking about cars and finances.
I'm sure that actually we get a lot of listens. But so I just live right up the street here. I was telling you that. And I
Yeah,
live in the
you-
Artist Loft. And I got to tell you, I got a really badass view. It views the Fox Theater. I got like all these windows. It's just really beautiful. So I've had this like really beautiful apartment for 3 years. And I've had a lot of apartments in the city. So I finally when you get like a good one, and then my play that I produced was just right across the street at the Kransberg. So I've had like this city life.
You
And
got
so
this
it's
excellent setup.
yes, it's terrifying. And people are like I have so many cute, sweet friends. Like Sean Don was like, I live in St. Peter's. You can come visit me anytime. I'll come over. Like, he's so supportive, and I'm like, thank you so much.
That sounds like Sean Don so much.
Yeah, right. Just that high voice. But you know what I mean?
not actually sounding like him. They're just the
Yeah.
supportiveness of
Yeah,
him.
the supportiveness.
He's a
just
good
like
dude.
he's like, I'm there. What are you talking about? Like Scott James and Mel, they live in O'Fallon. Like, for those of you again
Yeah.
who don't know, these are all counties. But
That's how I know Sean Don,
Yeah.
and me, Sean Don, and Sean Arredondo, I think our growing point as a collective, not personally, but we all kind of helped each other grow at the R&B Club in O'Fallon, Missouri. It does not exist anymore, but it was in O'Fallon, and I
Okay.
guarantee you that we saw Sean Don there because he lives
Right
closer
there.
to,
Yeah.
But it was one of my favorite times as far as like, it wasn't a place where you saw a lot of
Right.
not audience members.
I knew what
it
you
was
meant,
just
yeah.
comics,
mhm.
but we all helped each other grow. And God, Sean Arredondo and Sean Don, And that's another. Maybe you should move to St. Peter's. Go
Then
start
I
a
can,
show at Parrots and
just go to Parrots with Andy
Babylon.
Hamilton. Oh my
Dude,
God.
Jimmy Day's show at
Babylon.
Babylon. I
Yeah.
always had a good time there too.
See, everybody, so I started dating him.
Why did he stop doing that show?
He just
Do you
didn't
know?
want to do it anymore. He got tired. Like, you know when
Too
people
busy
just grow out
rebuilding
of...
Cobras and Broncos.
Like, I asked him that before, like, on our... When we were... I think it was actually part that was cut out from that episode that you listened to. I said, you know, there was a... For those of you who don't know, in St. Peter's, there was a club called Babylon, or it was a bar, and it had
It's
a stage.
probably still around. They just don't do comedy anymore.
It's actually closed now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he stopped doing it.
He, well, so Jimmy ran it. He ran the
Or
open
it's-
mic.
Maybe it closed down because
Jimmy shut
comedy
it down.
stopped.
Yeah. Like,
Jimmy Day, you
It
have
was-
that much power.
Jimmy is that. Well, the last show I saw him do, it had Scott James. Scott James has gotten a lot of shout outs on this. And then
Bro,
Jack Shirk.
with good reason.
With good reason, obviously, besties. And then Jimmy hosted. But the problem was the show was the night of the opening Blues game. So everybody was
That
there
always ruins it.
in
Yeah.
Blues attire.
Yeah.
So-
And not paying attention to jokes.
So then they turned off the TVs, which made everybody
Sacrilege
angry.
happened.
There was only one TV. So this guy turned to me and was like, "Your boyfriend fucking sucks because the TV is
Yeah.
off." And I'm like, "So Scott James, I gotta give it
Avalanche
to
just
him."
scored because of you.
He did
Because
45
we can't
minutes.
watch it and support them. They're not scoring goals because we're not supporting them.
It was actually the guy that yelled about Scott James doing 45 minutes was this dude. He's like, "That guy's doing 45 minutes." And I was like, yeah, he's headlining the show, so that's what's going to happen. And then Jack Shirk said something about Trump, and this guy was like, "Your friend just disrespected
Not in
the
St.
president."
Peter's.
And I just was like, you know, we all have our opinions. This was obviously like way before the storming of the Capitol and stuff. And you know when people are just like, they got a cigarette in their mouth, they're like right in your face, and you're like, I can't even debate with you right now. I just have to be like, you need to just.
That's usually the good way to go.
And then he goes, "You're really nice." And I went, "I know. Thank you." And then I got
I wish
my-
you'd have thought that when I was telling jokes on stage, not when I'm talking to you trying to tell you to shut the fuck up for the next guy on stage.
It was just, it was interesting, but it's, I don't know, like
I hope that wasn't the last show at the Babylon.
that was the last show he did there. Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think he just was like, we went there a couple of times because he wanted to see some DJ that was there doing something. But
After that last show, is that what you're saying?
yeah, we went there a couple of times, and then he said they were closing and they were selling stuff. But I don't know. I don't know, John.
That still
I'm just
sucks. I
nervous.
mean-
Like,
What are you nervous about? What do you mean?
like the suburbs. I just feel like, everybody's like, "Oh, you'll fit in, you'll be just fine." But I'm just so used to being in the
Is
city.
Jimmy going to move to the city?
Probably not. So we'll see what happens.
The suburbs aren't that bad, but I do understand both sides.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
I would also love to live in the city,
yeah.
but the suburbs aren't bad. I mean, it's a quiet place.
I think that's why I'm a little nervous. of the,
Yeah, it's too quiet.
Of the quiet. I'm
This
so
is
used
weird.
to, like, I'm right in the city. But speaking of the city life, we're going to actually ask you, I don't know, that has nothing to do with the city. What are your social media
Segues are
handles?
weird.
Segues are weird. What's your handle again? Let's see this really quickly.
Dude, your tech team's on it.
Yep, there we
too
go.
drunk to even
Not
say
John
it.
Maddie.
Yeah,
There we go.
Thank you guys. That's perfect. Dude, Casually Molly podcast, they've got it down. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing a podcast without these guys.
I love it. I love it. Oh, thank you very
Look
much
at
for. It's like, and it's done. We got the tool. That's actually a new tool. It's only been a few episodes. We used it with you and we used it with Joe Bates. But
That's cool.
what we'll ask you, what are you going to casually do now that our episode is over?
Well, not to be too short-minded, but I've got to pee really bad. This Crown Royal is going straight through me. Thank you, Dr. Dazzle, for making it so smooth. Sponsor me, Aldi. Well, aside from the promotions I did at the beginning of the show, I am going to continue and grow myself at my day job. We mentioned earlier I am I work on cars. I've only been doing it I've always been a car tinkerer, but I haven't been, I realized after going to school and working every day on it that I did a lot of things that weren't, that were Hoosier, if you will. So I'm continuously learning at that, and I'm just gonna keep doing that and keep writing jokes and have living life, dude. I don't
like
really
that.
have a. I mean, it's just I'm a 30-year-old dude, and some of you guys that listen to might.
I'm 32. Well, 30, not 32.
Oh, 30 as well.
30 as well. There we go.
What's your birth month?
Mine is November 4th.
So you turned 30 3 months ago.
Yes.
I turned 30. I turned 31 in May. If that would
Okay.
be easier to say. Yeah. At this point, it's different for me. But I'm just gonna. At this age, you realize it's like I have the benefit of being able to work on my normal day-to-day life and being able to do comedy and do podcasts like this, and I'm just blessed to do so. And I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to continue to find things funny in life. I don't know. I don't know when you think your peak is, but my peak is going to be when I have kids and I can make fun of them.
I like
So
that.
I've got like 15 years before I make my first comedy album. You can see it. My first comedy album is going to be called The Vulgar Gentleman. It'll be released in 2034. Make sure you check it out on Stitcher and MySpace and Juno.com.
And Peacock. There
yeah.
you go.
You think Podbean will still be around by then? That
Oh my
actually
God.
might still be around.
Oh yeah, who knows? Who knows? There's Anchor now though, so I may
Well,
be transferring
I'm
over to
30,
that.
so I don't know what Anchor is. So what the fuck
Well,
is
I
that?
didn't know what SMH was, so it's okay. It was,
What did you think it was?
I thought it was so much hate.
So it's pretty similar to shaking
Well,
my head.
yeah,
Like if
shaking
you're
my
shaking your
head.
head, you're like, I got so much hate for you right now, but I'm not gonna actually tell
Thank you.
I'm just disappointed. Like I'm shaking my head, disappointed dad. So
Well, see,
much
that's what I was
hate,
saying.
but the dad can't actually tell you how much you hate it because they want you to call him whenever something bad happens. So they just shake their head. So much
Right.
hate. I'm not gonna tell you though because I want you to call me when you get in an accident at 2 a.m. when you're drunk. You know what I'm saying?
He
All
said
right.
it best.
I'm
so
I'm trying, but
It's
I've
all
had
right.
too many Crown Royals and Aldi beverages.
Oh man. Speaking of beverages, you can grab some whiskey or even just whatever, some water tonight and casually subscribe to the Casually Molly podcast. Remember, you can stream it on any streaming services. Again, thank you, Tech. Or you can go onto our YouTube channel, casually subscribe, and also like us on Instagram and Facebook. I'm actually going to go make some Skyline chili for dinner, which is a Cincinnati favorite. So
You're gonna make it?
it's in a can, so I'm gonna put
Oh.
it on the stove.
Okay.
But I am gonna make some pasta and then
That's how
grill
hard I
up some
vetted you.
onions.
I've heard it on probably 3 separate episodes, the
So.
Skyline chili, and I've never tried it.
It's all right.
So maybe next weekend, me and Jen will come over and try some of that chili.
Oh, I'm down. I've got plenty of it. All right. Bye, everybody.